Right. So we're still dealing with principles of dealing with problems. So managing your problems positively, because if you can't overcome the problem, you can manage it. So let's look at what we need to do. One thing about a problem is you must not underestimate the problem, because your problem could actually be serious. And if you minimize it and deal with it casually, that in itself could be a very big problem. So don't underestimate the power of that problem and the harm it can do for you if you don't deal with it. Don't underestimate a problem. And then do not exaggerate the problem. Don't exaggerate the problem. We exaggerate the problem by we make the problem bigger than what it really is. The world's falling apart, and if I don't get a job now, and you begin to get all anxious and build on your anxiety because you're exaggerating about the power of that problem. And then the other thing is, do not wait for the problem to go away. Problems will not go away. In fact, they pick up momentum if you are simply sitting back and you're waiting for the problem to go away. Let me just go and sleep. Let me go and sleep it off. And maybe when I wake up, the problem's not there anymore. Huh? I know people who do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And do not aggravate the problem. Aggravating the problem can be, it's like rubbing salt into a sore. You're adding to the problem. You're adding issues to the problem. You need to focus on the problem itself. And then I'm going to talk about identify, predict, decide, and execute. I've done that on one of my videos on denial. You need to identify the problem, predict what the problem will do to you, decide what you do with it, and then execute it. So now, let's go. So first of all, the big thing to rub in is do not underestimate what this problem will do to you if you do nothing. Don't underestimate. If we leave that pool and we don't put chemicals in and we do nothing about it, don't underestimate what's going to go wrong. It's going to become green. It's going to, in fact, there was a guy that was in the house that he just had to swim in the pool when we moved in, and he swam in the pool and he picked up a saw on his little tool. So don't underestimate. If you neglect something, if you neglect the lawn, the weeds are going to grow up. There's going to be problems. So don't do nothing about a problem that you're seeing. What is the problem? What is the problem ultimately? The problem could be something I'm dealing with, or the problem could be me. I might be the problem that needs managing and fixing. I'm the problem, not the fact that I don't have employment, I don't have a job, I don't have an income. The problem might simply be me and my attitude of mind. Me. I often become my greatest enemy, not the devil. The devil sitting outside the church crying because everyone praying in the church are blaming him for all the things going wrong in their life. even the things he's not been responsible for. Your biggest enemy is often you yourself. And we spoke earlier on, we had a discussion about waste of time, time wasters, like spending a lot of wasted time on our beds doing Facebook and things like that. A lot of wasted time. We spoke also about the amount of smoking time and just doing nothing, unproductive time. That in that way you've become your own enemy. Your own enemy. So we need to learn the IPDE approach. What is it? Identify what this problem will do to me if I do nothing about it. These are not easy questions, but identify what this problem is going to do to me, or this challenge is in my life is going to do to me if I do nothing about it. If you do nothing about it, try and identify what it's going to do. Yeah, so that takes kind of looking into the future and saying, you know, if I just leave this problem, it's not going to get smaller. She's not going to remain a little pregnant. Her pregnancy is going to keep growing. Try and see what this problem is going to do in the future to me if I do nothing now about it. If you do nothing about it. And that problem, as I said, let me emphasize, the problem could simply be, you are the problem. You are the problem. I am the problem. Then, so you need to identify the problem, and you need to predict what will this problem do to me if I do nothing about it. I think we discussed that. So we need to identify what is the problem. Are there problems I'm dealing with, or am I the problem with my attitude? And then predict what will this problem do to me if I do nothing about it. We can do that. And then decide what this problem will do to me if I do nothing. So it's predicting, it's deciding, and deciding what you plan to do about it. So you can't get away from this. You're going to have to decide. You can't just leave it. You got to take your pen and paper, notebook, and you got to write down some ideas. Do some brainstorming. Whatever thoughts come to your head, that's called brainstorming, and write them down. But you need to write down what you plan to do. And you might list 10 plans, and maybe one plan might be the best, and you circle that one. But you need to write down what you plan to do about it. What do you plan to do about it? If you don't plan, you are really messed up. So what do you plan? And then once you've made a list of plans, and you've circled maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of them, then execute the plan. Execute a plan of action. You need to have a plan of action. If we are sitting here in this house and we're sitting here and we're just smoking and eating and sleeping and watching downloaded movies, pirate movies or whatever, and you don't execute a plan, if you don't come up with a plan, you are planning to fail. Old saying, you're planning to fail. You're going to fail. You better have a plan. And those who want to leave soon, I hope you have a plan. And I hope it's a plan that you're going to execute. It's no use just having a plan. This sounds like a plan. This sounds like a wonderful plan. But
like a plan.
Execute a plan. You got to execute. You got to implement. You've got to do something. You've got to have a plan, guys.
Amen.
You've got to have a plan. So action plan. What is your action plan? So what is my action plan? So what is your action plan? Whatever the problem is, what is your action plan? And we should have a meeting where you explain your plan to us of your way of executing the problem, or the solution, should I say, to the problem. Instead of having a meeting on how we feel today and so on, we should have a meeting where you share with us how you explain to us how you're planning to execute the plan you have for dealing and managing a problem that you have. How do you plan to do that? What's the execution going to be? Execute. And thank you for being honest. Being honest about how you're going to execute that plan.
Amen.
Taking things like this honestly. What am I honestly going to do about it? There are things I can do effectively. For one, I can stop bluffing myself that everything is okay. I can stop that. I can stop saying I don't have a sore in my foot. I can acknowledge it. I can acknowledge that I have a problem. I can stop bluffing myself, and yourself is the worst person that you should be bluffing. You can bluff others, but you can't bluff yourself. And so don't bluff yourself about your problem. Explain to us your plan of action. Think. In fact, that's the homework for today. I want you simply to write down a plan that you want to explain to others, just in a few words, how you plan to help yourself move forward. How are you going to help yourself move forward? That's what we can do.
So can you please go to decide?